All right, I'm Sarah Scott. I'm with the Identity and Security Operations team at Microsoft. I work in our internal Core Services Engineering and Operations division. That's the part of a company at Microsoft that builds, deploys, and runs solutions for the Microsoft enterprise user, so folks who work at Microsoft or work with Microsoft every day. Today we're going to talk a lot about passwords. It's been a fight that I've been a part of for the entirety of my career, and many of you, I assume, as well. Passwords have presented a ton of challenges both to security professionals and to our users. It might not be surprising to you to hear that a ton of breaches or security incidents start with a password. It's a remarkable number of incidents that involve something stemming from credential theft, whether that's a password or another kind of credential. Another trend that we've seen is that any application or service that a user is accessing today, whether it's in their personal life or in an enterprise context, typically requires an account or a new identity and a password to go along with it. So whether you're online shopping or trying to pay a utility bill or just do your job every day, the number of passwords that you're asked to create and then manage and maintain has led to users adopting an unfortunate trend of reusing or duplicating the passwords that they use. So we see a substantial number of passwords out there in the world that are not just bad passwords, but they're bad and reused passwords. And malicious actors are picking up on this trend and exploiting this at greater effect with phishing campaigns that we still see, but also with password spray attacks that go after those known or are reused passwords. So what do we do about that situation? You folks came to a session about a world without passwords, so you might be able to, spoiler alert, guess what's coming up next. But over the years, we've tried a number of techniques. We know that passwords have had these vulnerabilities associated with them. We've tried, I don't know if anybody in the audience has tried increasing complexity or extending password history requirements or trying to prompt users to reset them more frequently. Turns out, as we saw with the data on the previous slide, it's not a particularly effective strategy for protecting your environment or reducing your risk, and this tended to frustrate users quite a bit as well. So at Microsoft, again, for our internal user experience and our security team, we went back to the drawing board and said, if we looked at from a low security to a high security spectrum and our users' experience or their productivity with the credentials that they're using, passwords tend to fit somewhere in this range. They're not particularly secure for the reasons we've just mentioned. Users don't exactly dislike the experience of typing in a password, but it's not their favorite activity either. As security professionals, we went ahead and said, let's add an additional factor. Let's make two-factor auth, which does tend to be much more effective from a security perspective at protecting your company and your data. But it slid that convenience or productivity factor down to the left. Users weren't a huge fan of that additional step. When we went back to the drawing board and looked at where the pain points were for our users in that process, it turned out that some of the password management, the choosing a good password, keeping it up to date, being taken through a password reset every 90 days or some other frequent reset process was a key part of the challenge for our users. If we looked at passwordless authentication methods that meet that high bar of multi-factor auth, that don't rely on a password as one of those two factors, we both win. We were in a position where security folks are happy because of that added security, and our users found the experience overall much more convenient. So I'm going to talk to you today about the journey that Microsoft has been on to eliminate the password, to get us into fully that two-factor auth without a password mode. Our journey you might have heard about at a high level. I'm going to talk through 5 key detailed implementation recommendations, the journey that we've been on at Microsoft to get us from a place where we had been solely reliant on passwords as our bootstrapping method and as a factor in a two-factor auth modality to a place where we can eventually eliminate passwords. So a brief word on passwords while they're still here. I'm going to assume that many of you are in a similar situation as Microsoft. We're a hybrid environment at Microsoft. We've got on-premise applications, cloud apps that we utilize. We've got infrastructure in both modes. We have every type of device that you can imagine, users that are on clients across the spectrum. It's not purely a Windows shop, as you might expect. We have folks on Mac and Linux and iOS and Android devices running around. And we have a mix of software providers, things that we build custom. We certainly reference and use our first-party Microsoft offerings, things that you would have heard a lot about today, like Azure Active Directory and the Microsoft 365 suite. And we have third-party service providers that we also integrate into that environment. Requiring unique passwords is one of the benefits or one of the tactics that we decided to take at Microsoft to address the security challenges of passwords while they're still here. As many of you might be aware or familiar, getting rid of passwords isn't particularly straightforward or easy. It's not like you just sign up one day and say, I'd like to get rid of them, thank you. This is a journey that we've been on at Microsoft and one that's taken us a few steps, and we have a ways left to go. Looking at the vulnerabilities or the attack patterns that have successfully taken advantage of passwords over time, it turned out those complexity requirements or history requirements or resets weren't nearly as effective as requiring that users pick a unique password, something that's hard to guess, something that's specific to them, that is more resilient in the face of a password spray attack where someone's trying to guess or game the passwords that are used across your environment. At Microsoft, we deployed AAD password protection feature sets to accomplish this aim. That relies on banned password list style features and functions. There's a cloud service that looks at the entirety of the universe, the world that we all live in, at passwords that are known and out there, have been compromised in other breaches, are potentially bad ones to be ever reused or utilized by another user. There's also a custom list that we can add to, so things like in the Seattle area where I work, we can add Seahawks to the list and get some additional coverage on things that might be, a user expects is particularly unique, but really aren't. One of the things that banning commonly used passwords did, from a security perspective, we felt better, but again, on that spectrum of user experience or productivity, this did add quite a lot of friction to that password setting or password change when users were subject to this policy for the first time. We got that, we understood and expected that that hit, at least initially, to the user experience. One of the methods that we used to combat that or to lessen the burden, if you will, or impact on our user population was we paired that security policy with a user-facing benefit, something that we could stand on 2 feet and bring our users along with us. We paired this policy change with an announcement that our intention is to get rid of passwords in the fullness of time, something that resonated with our users and certainly got them focused and in it with us on, hey, that sounds great, how are we going to get there? We also paired it immediately with a change to the password history requirements. So password lifetime would be extended from that typical 72 or 90-day period to 365 days. We gave users a year with that newly unique, newly complex password that they'd just chosen. And last thing I'll mention on this, even though this particular change that we implemented at Microsoft didn't get rid of passwords, we did see 2 immediate benefits that came out the other end. The first is that users, because they aren't being prompted to reset their passwords on that standard cadence, have moved away from choosing seasonal style passwords or incorporating things like fall 2019 into their passwords because we aren't prompting them to change them that frequently. And the second benefit, something that we didn't necessarily anticipate, was we've made so much progress at Microsoft for the corporate user experience with single sign-on technology that users are prompted so much less than they used to be in the past to enter that password that a couple of months down the line, we found a substantial volume of our users had actually forgotten their password. Not just, I said it yesterday and I can't quite remember what it is, but I have no recollection of what I picked and I haven't had to enter it for so long that it's not necessarily the benefit that you're after when you extend your password lifetimes, but we saw that users are much less likely when they are engaged with a phishing attempt or a malicious actor is trying to get them to provide a password. If you don't know one, you can't give it away. So even without getting rid of a password, getting it out of the mind space of your users can provide you an immediate benefit. So we recommend others take a look at the exact same methods that we used here. All right, so you came to talk about no passwords. Let's move away from how we secure passwords while they're still here and talk a little bit about two-factor auth methods. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. There's a breakout session Wednesday afternoon with Libby Brown, who's done a ton of work on our product team side on enabling passwordless two-factor auth methods like the ones that you see up here. I recommend everybody check that session out for more details on how this all works and what's coming next. At Microsoft, we've for several years been on a journey of getting two-factor auth methods into the hands of our users. Things like Windows Hello for Business or the Microsoft Authenticator app that work on the device population I mentioned earlier. The two-factor auth methods, when they're utilized frequently or chosen by users at the time that they sign into your app's services or devices, when they don't rely on a password, you start that journey towards a user not remembering or not knowing. You're moving away incrementally from relying on a password as part of your daily experience. There's also been some new enhancements with the FIDO2 standard that was ratified last year. At Microsoft, we're exploring, we have FIDO2 keys that are being piloted within our environments that similarly as to the other methods that are listed here, provide two-factor auth with a strong device or something that's capable of storing securely the credential on that device, and an additional factor that the user knows that isn't a password, something like a biometric facial authentication or a fingerprint or a PIN, which you might be wondering, is a PIN the equivalent of a password? They seem fairly similar. What gives? The main difference, as I've noted here, is that a PIN is something that interacts directly with that device. It's not transmitted over the wire over the internet the same way that a password-style credential is. So heartily recommend get your users and your devices ready to support the passwordless future that's coming. The main thing is at Microsoft, we updated our device procurement and device issuance standards. So when we purchase a device for a corporate user, we make sure that it's ready. It has TPM 2.0, for example, or it's enabled with biometric authentication methods. And then for our BYOD or personally purchased population, we updated our guidance for our users to say if you're going to go purchase a device, make sure that it meets this same standard so you can have a great experience at Microsoft. All right, so we've talked about getting users and devices ready to go. I also want to talk about getting your application ecosystem enabled and ready for not just two-factor auth, but the passwordless flows that are coming. The main thing that I'll recommend here is adopting modern auth protocols. There's a bit of a good news, bad news as we're moving towards passwordless auth. The bad news is a number of old tech stacks aren't going to immediately support it. There is some work to do. The good news is that it's standards-based and you have a ton of options available. I've referenced we use Azure Active Directory for the Microsoft tenant, but any identity service provider that you are working with is going to support these modern auth protocols. And the interactive flows that they enable, the two-factor auth flows that they enable, are going to be an integral part of enabling passwordless authentication flows in your environment. Get your application developers started on this stuff right now. It can take some time if you're adopting a new auth model. So get folks started with OAuth 2 and OpenID Connect. Again, in the Microsoft ecosystem, things like the Microsoft Authentication Library or the Active Directory Authentication Library are built right on top of these standards. So if applications can utilize those protocols or libraries, you're going to be all set. For apps that might not have that capability, we also have done an extensive application proxy implementation at Microsoft. So apps are published to the internet or exposed to those modern auth flows without having to necessarily migrate. There's also some evolving technologies, some new features that are coming out of our AAD team that are going to enable staged migration or staged rollouts to cloud-first authentication, which is going to be a key part of the equation for the remainder of your app population. So get going on this. At Microsoft, one of the other key facets of moving away from passwords is identifying where they're currently used in our environment and starting to block methods that require use of a password. We refer to those auth protocols as legacy or basic auth protocols. I very intentionally included data gathering as the #1 recommendation here. Get started with gathering your sign-in logs or sign-in information. We have also utilized report-only features of conditional access in Azure Active Directory to understand the footprint of where legacy or basic auth is being used. And any place that we found that isn't actively being utilized, we've reduced that surface area so that a malicious actor couldn't start using it where our users hadn't been already. So it's all anchored around data. Use data to inform your rollouts, not just for blocking legacy auth or prioritizing where you invest in adopting modern auth protocols, but to identify where you're going to be able to go passwordless first and get started on this. It's been a tricky journey for us at Microsoft. I'm going to be in the Microsoft IT Showcase booth this afternoon. I'm more than happy to talk to you about our journey, some of the things that we learned as we were making progress with blocking legacy auth. But this is going to be a key part of your journey. Even if you get to a place where your users don't know a password, if legacy auth protocols exist and a malicious attacker gets a hold of a password, you've left an avenue open. So from a security perspective, this is something you've got to keep in mind as you move forward. All right, and then on eliminating passwords, we are in the midst of our journey at Microsoft. We've made a ton of progress with the efforts that I just mentioned with implementing password protection features and requiring unique passwords, with getting two-factor auth methods into people's hands, with enabling modern auth and blocking legacy auth flows. The sort of last stages as we enable end-to-end password flows is to be able to prevent a user from having a password in the first place. That's some of the technology options or enablement functions we're still waiting on. There's some things that we'll be able to tackle with bootstrapping somebody without a password to get into using a 2FA method at Microsoft, and then using things like we're a hybrid enterprise, so using the Skrill bits in Active Directory or the smart card required for interactive logon to enforce that nobody's ever using a password, and making sure that those end-to-end flows truly function as we expect. We recommend, no matter what you're doing or what policies or changes you're deploying in your environment, you execute it with a ring-based strategy or a phased rollout. We do that by user population at Microsoft. We've done that by app population at Microsoft, or even by device platform, depending on what policy you're talking about. And then one more plug for, even if you can't get to done on any of the things that I've talked about today, making progress is a critical value add, not just for you, but also for your users. The security benefits you reap, even if you only make it part of the way through your journey on these 5 things, you're going to get a better risk posture, a more protected environment, even if you don't get all the way to done. So I want to encourage everybody to get started, and then we're going to keep trucking away on making sure we can get across that finish line at Microsoft too. All right, and then my last minute or two, I just wanted to recap a couple go-dos. These are also in any order. As I mentioned, they're not one-to-one mapped to how I went through them today. That's because you can choose your own adventure at wherever company or enterprise you find yourself trying to get rid of passwords for. Certainly go get that data right now. Use it to inform any kind of rollout in your environment. Start blocking those basic or legacy auth flows as soon as you can. Enable those passwordless flows by encouraging your entire app ecosystem, whether it's your custom applications within your environment or the service providers that you interact with. Start upping the requirement and saying, I must have modern auth so that I can get to this passwordless future. Update your device standards and make sure that your users are also aware that the latest devices are going to give them the greatest, most secure experiences. And then finally, get the word out. I think one of the best side effects of this kind of rollout at Microsoft was it was a great opportunity for us to talk to all of our enterprise users about where we're going and the steps that it's going to take to get there. Bring your users into that story with you. This isn't something you have to do in a silo. Users are as excited about this as security professionals are. So get the word out to them, and enlist them in that journey with you, and good luck. Thank you.